Coming up on this episode
is the way you approach a girl is not the way you approach a woman. Right?
Okay.
Like if you try to spit the same game to a woman,
oh yeah,
like a lady even, right? They're gonna see that, they're gonna not give you the time of day. It's so weird. Like the basic game techniques of like a compliment and walking away, right? Like a diss or a neg, right? Mm-hmm. Like all that stuff of like a quick showboat of however you want to do it with money, your car, whatever it is, it will not work with a woman who has her stuff together, who knows what she wants, and knows what you may or may not be. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What up, Grwn Talk? It's Andrew Ton, and sitting next to me, I have the Godfather, the Podfather. That joke? The Podfather of Houston's podcast scene. This is John Trapp.
I like that.
So anyone who doesn't know, John has a podcast called The Sports Trap with two of my very good friends, Chris and Qua, and I've been a guest on his for very important episodes, so go check that out as well. And I'm so excited to have him here because he is a part of our Cool Dads group. And, we talk a lot, actually, and he's a big supporter and motivator for me to do the things that I do. So I appreciate you being here, my guy. And cheers one more time because I'm going to get you litty. Yes. You got to do that, bro. Don't choke on it. Swallow. All right. He's learning.
So yeah, thank you for that intro. That was very nice. Man, it's an honor to be here. It really is. I wasn't expecting it to come to fruition, but I always wanted to do this. One of the things that I respect of you is the fact that this is something that you do for your son and your future babies that you may have.
Yeah, man.
So. Everything's a learning experience, everything that we do as fathers, because, I have 2 kids of myself, and it's something I always tell you this, but it's something I always wanted to do myself as far as like giving my kids advice and learning experiences that I had through video, through podcasts, through whatever means to give them, that I guess, advice that they may need going forward within their own lives. Cause we're going at like 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour every day. We sometimes don't remember to take a stop and say, son, this is what happened to me. Mm-hmm. This is what I went through. But this gives us an opportunity to be like, hey, I may not be there 24/7.
Do you think about that? About like
time? Yeah. Oh, I think of it like this. And it's a little bit morbid.
I get it.
But what if I'm not there in the future to be around?
That's why I made this. Because I feel like any point, man, I know how I'm gonna die, but it could happen, right? And there are so many things I feel like the boys aren't gonna. I'm going to try my best to give them all the life lessons. Right. But there's so many things and teaching moments that may or may not happen. So I got to get them out, as they see fit. And then again, I don't know anything. Like I really don't know anything. So I got to bring on amazing people, smart people like yourself, right? Who get it, experienced fathers to share what they have learned and what they want to know. I'm excited, thank you for what you said, but I'm excited because your kids are going to get to see this too. Right. And so it's kind of full circle. So for anyone who doesn't know, how old are your kids, boys, girls, kind of lay that as a father.
All right. So I always wanted a boy and then a girl.
Okay.
And I always wanted 2 kids.
Okay.
And it just, for whatever reason, God is like, okay, you wanted this, I'm going to give you this.
Yes.
And, at the end of the day, it's like, oh, okay, thank you for one, but I had no idea what that entailed. Yeah. It's easy for you to say, yeah, I want to be a father. Yeah, I want a boy and then a girl. And it's like, oh, when you actually get it, it's like, oh, okay, I have responsibility now.
It's different. It changes overnight.
Almost, yeah.
like you thought you knew what was important and you thought you knew what the priorities were. And then as soon as they're born, it's like, oh, like I knew instantly where every dollar was.
Really?
I mean, more or less, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I knew like, okay, that's daycare, that's diapers, that's this. Like I knew.
Wow, that's good.
Kind of what it was. And I had done that before he was born. But as soon as he was born and I'm holding him, I
went to
like right away. How old are your kids again?
My son is 11 and my daughter's about to be 6 within a month.
Yeah, you got grown kids.
Oh yeah. Well, they think they are. Like I absolutely think they are. My son is always like 11 or 10, about to be 14.
Right.
They think they're so big. And I don't want to get too much of into what they are, but that's their mentality. They're always trying to grow up, and I'm like the complete opposite. I want to, as soon as I turned 18, I wanted to go back to like 16.
Yeah. Wait, when you were younger?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You're the only guy who knows that. I'm always, when I was younger, when I was 16, needed to be 18. 18 needed to be 21.
No, I understand that concept. When you want to, be an adult.
Yeah.
And I'm exaggerating maybe a little bit, but it's like when I knew the responsibility of being an adult, because when you're a kid, you're like, oh, adults have all the fun.
Right.
But when I knew the actual responsibility of being an adult, I'm like, damn, I had it so good as a kid.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. No bills.
Nothing.
No work.
Nothing.
Homework is nothing.
Right.
Like it's crazy. Like half an hour worth of homework and you're done for the day. I mean, more or less. I mean, I don't know how they half an hour first, but
No, at the end of the day, I keep saying it. Anyways, so I'm blessed to be in a position I'm in.
You're right.
I joke and I kid about being able to go back or wanting to go back, but at the end, it's like, okay, you've done this, you've cultivated this. You've created the life that you wanted to create.
Right.
And you're in a situation where you're blessed.
Yes.
I've made so many mistakes within my life, and I really count the blessings that I have today and sitting where I'm at, because everything has taught me a lesson.
Right.
And I think it's to the point where we're too scared to fail.
Okay.
It's as a man that provides for his family, you are like trying to make every decision correctly. Yes. And it starts at a young age.
Well, it's important, right? Because I don't want to get into gender stereotypes here, right? But let's just say, for example, in my house, I would bring home what you call the bacon. Right?
Okay.
So I'm financially responsible for the family. And it's not that Taylor doesn't contribute financially, right? But I just happen to be in a position and blessed enough where I can contribute more.
Right.
Right. And she does contribute in other ways. And she'll tell you this, and she's amazing at doing all those things. She takes care of everything else. But that's a lot on the shoulders of a father, right? And let me ask you this, right? Because the pandemic happened, a lot of people lost their jobs and everything. And I know for me, when my back is against the wall, especially after having Elijah, I think I told you this too, like, I don't even get nervous. I get to work because I know as a father, there's no way my family can fail, at least financially. Like I gotta make sure like I do my job providing and protecting and all those other things and those P words, right? But like if my back's against the wall, it's go time. Like I'm not worried about it. So for you, when you say, society wise, like men might be scared to fail, how do you feel about that? How do you navigate that space? Because you've had kids 11 years now, going on 14.
Right.
Right. And you've been through a pandemic. You've been through a couple different seasons.
Okay. So there's a couple things to unpack there, right?
Okay.
So on the gender side, right? When I think that a union is at its core, at its best, is when the other partner can step in if need be at whatever point. Like, say, you know, especially during the pandemic, so many people lost their jobs, right? So in my instance, and I got to give credit to my wife, is when the pandemic happened, I got furloughed, essentially fired, right?
Right.
So she stepped up. She was like, okay, you know, she allowed me to be comfortable in a sense of like looking for jobs. And it's so hard
to get
in a pandemic.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
To get a job.
100%.
And like, I was dejected, rejected, and further dejected from all, you know, not being able to provide, you know, step up the way I you know, stereotypically, I guess a man should, right?
Right. We challenge all those things.
Right.
And I think you have a great partner to allow you to do that.
Right.
And then actually listen, because your wife seems like, one, I want to drink with your wife one day. Not without you, of course. But just saying, you know, I feel like she's like a homie, like I want to drink with, because Tay's like this, and I think your wife was like this. You tell me if I'm wrong. Tay was like, look, if you don't get a job, if you don't switch jobs, and we got to sell all the houses and everything, and we got to be in the car, we can be okay.
Right.
Like a ride for die.
So my wife, in a sense, is like that, right? So if that ever were to come down to it, right? She's willing to do that.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Not that they want to.
No.
Right.
But like what you just exuded within your question, you're like, you get to work. My wife's the same way. Like, she was like, okay, it's cool. The confidence of people sometimes it is what amazes me.
Okay.
Like, in the face of adversity, in the face of not having any positivity,
right,
could be like, all right, it's cool. Let's go.
We'll figure it out.
Let's figure it out. Yeah. Right. And I'm not like that.
You're not?
No.
You have so much confidence, and I mean this as a compliment.
Right.
I just assume that you like that.
Okay, so see, the reason I have confidence, right, and it's going to sound weird, is because I didn't have any to begin with, right? So what ended up happening in my, you know, my formative years, I sound so old when I say that,
you
right? Are old. What ended up happening in my formative years is because I didn't have any, I projected confidence.
Okay.
Fake confidence.
Why didn't you feel like you had confidence? What about you?
Okay.
Were you? I don't say insecure, but like lack of confidence.
So I look at everybody's psychology.
Yeah. Go back just a little bit.
I look at everybody's psychology.
Okay.
But the first person I had to break psychologically down is myself.
Yep.
And to really answer that question, we can get further down, but into the show. But the reason I don't have confidence, or didn't have confidence in that time, is because I didn't have anybody to reflect off of. And what I mean by that is, like, I didn't have friends.
Okay.
And the reason I didn't have friends is because every time we moved, I had to create another like little circle of friends.
See, yeah, I want to talk about that too, because Chris had alluded to that, and he told me, hey, ask him about the background, because you and I are the same that way, where we moved a lot growing up, right? So do you have siblings?
No. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Growing up in that situation, I was by myself, but eventually I did.
Okay.
Right. And I'm sorry to keep it in that pocket, but that's what I mean. Like within what I was growing up with, I didn't have siblings. By the time, you know, later on, my mom had remarried and I had two other
step siblings.
Right, but those are my brothers. I look at them like that, like 100%. You know, my brothers, and I never even like look at them half brothers or anything like that. I don't think of it like that, but yeah.
And how old were you when you finally got your brothers?
7 and 9.
So you're decently growing up. I mean, you're aware of your surroundings. You're having memories already, right? So, and you're making decisions as a young kid already.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So you're projecting confidence. How do you do that? In what ways?
Like in high school or in middle school, right? you start developing, feelings for the other sex, and hormones are starting to rage.
Yeah.
Nobody paid attention to me, right?
No girls paid attention.
Yeah.
Nobody that you wanted.
Nobody that I knew, right?
That's fair. Okay.
Right. And everything's awkward at that moment, so you can't really tell. It's
weird. I still can't tell. I'm so glad we're married now, dude. I'm so naive to that shit. But it's just like, okay, so you're trying to talk to girls, get their attention.
So what I ended up doing was watching other people and how they maneuvered, how they dressed, how they acted, how they, projected themselves to get and attract females. Right?
Okay.
So as soon as I could, I went to mow lawns. I went to do odd jobs to make money. My mom said she was never willing to give me the best shoes, the name brands, nothing. I remember I remember going. I don't even know if you remember this, even if they had it back in your days. Wieners. Wieners was like,
what is Wieners?
How do I put? Wieners was a step below, maybe 2 steps below Ross.
Okay.
It was just the bottom of the bottom of the options of new clothes.
Okay.
So she said, okay, these jeans cost $20, right? I'll get you these jeans, or I can give you the $20 and you go get the jeans you want.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I would get $20 from mowing lawns, take those $20 and go get Jinkos.
Okay.
Go get, Jabodes.
Jankos. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We old.
How old are you?
I'm 40. I just turned 40. Yeah.
For real?
100%.
You look a day over 40.
Hey, man. A day over 40.
No, you look, it's just that, bro.
Hey, I appreciate it.
You don't age at all, brother. But Jankos, okay. So you got the right clothes. Okay. You're learning. So tell me.
I did that with everything.
But tell me about the approach. Like, what changed about how you approached women?
Okay.
So let me preface this, right? I'm prefacing this with, because you have a son who's 11. He's that age.
Yeah.
He's gonna watch this back one day. Right. So he's gonna want to know the game. My son's 2 and unborn. Gonna want to know the game somehow, right? I don't know if I'm gonna coach or not, but I just want to know, how did you figure it out? And I'll share how I figured it out, because how they approach whoever they're attracted to at that age might be completely different. Because the way they do it now, from what I understand, is way different than the way we did it. The way we did it.
Right.
Right. Because we did things face to face, over the phone, right? Like, let's set it up.
I still think that works though.
I think it absolutely works, but from what I hear, is it's more rare. I think it's a lot more social media, a lot more DM sliding, a lot more peacocking. But tell me what you did.
So real quick,
back in the 70s.
Right.
There you go.
So, I got all the, the like you said, I peacocked a lot. Like, got the clothes, got the shoes, got, gelled the hair, did all that, right? So I approach a girl and she's like, no.
What did you say? What's the line?
Actually, okay.
What's the trap line?
Hold on. Check this out. And she, I don't know if she'll ever see this, but this girl approaches me, asking me to the dance. I take her to the dance.
Okay, that's great.
I take her to the dance. The next day, she breaks up with me. I thought I was on a roll. I'm 100%. I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's get it.
How old are you?
At this point, I'm like probably 14.
Wait, hold up. Going to the dance automatically means you're dating?
To me, I've never dated. I've never done anything.
I guess back then you would call steady, right?
Right.
Okay.
No, actually, like, you want to mess around? All right, we're messing around.
To me, messing around means like you doing stuff.
I thought so too, but that's not that. I was naive, and messing around was nothing more than just like
getting a dance?
Kissing, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But she broke up with you the next day?
The next day. The very next day.
Did you kiss that bad?
She goes, it's not you, it's me.
Ooh, that's a great line.
And I was like, how? No. Okay.
Was that the first time you heard that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, cool, whatever. And internally, I'm hurt.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So I go off after she's like, it's not you, it's me. And she's crying. I'm like, why are you crying? Right.
Yeah. So you got broke up with.
Right.
And you're consoling her.
Right. And then I walk off and I'm hurt. And I shed one tear. And I told myself, I will never let another girl make me cry.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
After that, I didn't care. I'd walk up to anybody. I'm like, girl, you beautiful. You look so nice today.
Yeah.
And I'd walk off.
Okay. The walk-off's important.
I'd walk off. Mm-hmm. And she'd be like, what do I do with that?
Right.
Because he walked off.
Right.
And that's what I did. I would walk off and then I'd come back a day or two later and it was just like they couldn't get me out of their minds. And I guess it's subconscious. I didn't know at the time I was playing with the psychology of it. But then like adding the peacocking to that, it was just a method to get what I wanted, but it never, because at the end of the day, I was subconscious about the way I was, the way I looked, the way, I dressed. It wasn't real confidence. It was just a show. Like you said,
right.
I use all this artificial materialistic things
right
to build this peacock of an image that whenever it boiled down to my real personality, I didn't know what to do.
So when did you drop the facade?
Can I be honest?
100%. You still got it on?
Yeah, right. For you.
No, you don't play.
Anyways,
you can get it.
When I got married.
For real?
Yeah.
My
wife.
After you got married.
My wife broke me down.
Not even during the courtship, like after you said I do.
No, I was years in.
Whoa!
Years.
Break this down for me.
Oh,
this is why I gotta drink with your wife, because I feel like
she
could do that with you.
Bro, she's... Whew.
Can we get the wife together sometime?
Yeah.
All right, bet.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna do a double date. All right, so break me down. How did she do it? And then how did you feel it happening? Did you see it? Like, how do you anticipate something like this when you've been doing it for so long? How old were you when you got married?
I was 25.
Okay, so you've been peacocking for a good 15 years.
I got almost 15 years.
Right? Yeah. So that's over half your life. You've been...
No, well, okay. So about, let me see, 14 to 16 is when I like started doing all that. So I got married when I was 25. So that's 10 years of like real. So yeah, about
almost half your life, right? You had this way that you've learned to exude confidence, fake or not, right? Like at that age, everything's fake. I believe that. Like everything's fake, right?
Right, yeah.
And so, you have this way that you approach women and life and confidence. You get married, you say I do, and then you say a few years later, you finally break it down.
Yeah.
What happened?
Okay, so
what did this mastermind do to you?
Right. No, well, it's not so much as that. It's like when you realize that whoever's willing to put up with your bullshit stops putting up with your bullshit.
Yeah.
That's when it's like, oh, my bullshit's not working anymore.
It's weird. I mean, good job, but it's weird because the way, sons, I'm sorry, your dad used to know the game, right? I don't anymore. But it's I'll school you guys right now, and then to your son too, and even your daughter, so she understands how people are gonna approach her, right? Is the way you approach a girl is not the way you approach a woman. Right?
Okay.
Like if you try to spit the same game to a woman,
oh yeah,
like a lady even, right? They're gonna see that, they're gonna not give you the time of day. It's so weird. Like the basic game techniques of like a compliment and walking away, right?
right,
like a diss or a neg, right? Mm-hmm. Like all that stuff of like a quick showboat of however you want to do it with money, your car, whatever it is, it will not work with a woman who has her stuff together, who knows what she wants, and knows what you may or may not be.
Right.
Right. That's crazy.
So, long story short, we split. We split up because she was like just finally done with my stuff, right?
She called you out.
Oh, right, 100%. So, in order for me to get back in those good graces was like, I had to strip myself. Like, go bare, like, who am I? What am I about? And how do I go about going forward? Oh, I'm sorry, going forward, right? So, for what it took to get back, on good terms, I guess, not good terms, but just like
after you're married,
right?
Okay.
Essentially, get everything back was like I had to be real. I had to. Like, if I was gonna say put in time, I had to put in time.
Yeah,
I can't just say, oh, I love you and take me back or I'll do this, I'll change, I'll do it. All that bullshit was not gonna work. So what I had to do was first show, I wasn't about the bullshit. I'm sorry to keep cursing, but
no, it's real.
She just stopped relying on what I was saying, and I had to show and prove at this point. And I never had to do that before.
Would you say that's the same time you became a man?
I think that's I don't want to say that. I want to say that everybody goes through these periods of change, of maturity.
Okay.
Like there's levels to it, right? So you were talking about when your son was born, right? To bring it back to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like, for example, for me, right? I'm single. I work 20, 25 hours a week. I get married. I go to 40. I have a kid. I'm working 60 now.
Oh, to make that money back.
Right. Well, no, it's not just that. It's just like that you realize you need to step up. It's almost like, it's almost like something goes off. What, and it's not even like somebody has to tell you. It's just, if you're mature, if you're about it, like at the end of the day, you could say you want to be married. You could say you have kids, but if you're really about it, when that happens, you step up, like you step to another level that you didn't even know you had. It's just like exercising.
Yeah.
You're like one day, you're lifting, 150 pounds.
Okay.
Then
that's my max. Okay.
That's it?
No, of course not. It's 155.
And then the next day you're like, 175. It's just that I don't know. I think it's internal, to be honest with you.
I get 100%. It's interesting. And I'm glad we're having this conversation because for me, I feel like it was a little bit different. Like it was almost inverted, but I understand exactly what you're saying. Like before Taylor, easily working 60 hours a week.
Before,
60,
really?
70, 80. Got with her, slow it down a little bit because, you want to spend time with her, whatever. When he was born, I was still working probably 50, 60 hours a week, but I was very conscious about how much time I was spending away from home and trying to find a way to make my hours pay more and count for more so that I could be home more. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
Like
I was opposite.
Well, here's the thing. I love working. If I could, I would work 6-7 hours a week, 100% of the time. But for me, I think what changed for me was I didn't want to work for what I was working for cash wise anymore. I needed to work for however many more times more so that I could have the same lifestyle for less time back. Like if you, cause I get it, you're right. You went from 20 to 40 to 60, right? But if you could work for 40 hours making what you made for 60, would you still work 60?
No, absolutely not.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, right?
Right.
So for me, my focus was on how do I maximize the time working so I could be at home. And I got to tell you, I mean, very honest, I'm still figuring it out because I still put in easily 50 plus hours a week. You know what I mean? And again, because by nature, the same way, I like working. I like being able to say and feel confident that I'm doing the things that I feel like make me able to provide and to do those things. And again, that's a thing that's on me.
See,
that I understand for me.
Whenever I decided to kind of like step up to work, I sacrificed my family time.
Oh yeah, I get that.
Right. I wasn't smart enough to know that the best time for a man or even a female in today's day and age, like the best time for them to actually put in that work is when they're single by themselves, right? To gain that experience, to gain that education, because when it does come to building a family, you need to give that same energy to your family. And I didn't learn that. Like I said, I was like, you know, I was almost a reverse of that. Like what made me click was actually the same thing that made me kind of like stray away from my family. Right. Yeah. So whenever, like I say, I went from 20 to 40 to 60, like I hit this point where within the family dynamic was like, I was away from my family 17 hours of the day.
That's how I feel sometimes. Yeah.
Right.
Even if I'm working from home, I feel like I'm not even in the house.
So I would go weeks, and my wife can tell you, it's just basically, I would come home, sleep, go to work.
Go to work. Yeah. 100%.
Right.
Yeah. And when I'm home and not asleep, I just need to chill out for a little bit. So I can't even be fully present to my wife and to my kid because I just worked 10, 15 hours a day.
Exactly.
Right. And it sucks.
And I really believe you it's like a seed. You cultivate what you basically planted into the ground. So if you're not taking care of the seed that you planted,
yes,
it will eventually wither.
Yeah.
You know, luckily it didn't die, but it withered to the point where it's like it got dire. You know,
right? I love that your wife called you out on that, though. That's important. To have a partner.
She's strong though. She's like, you know, one thing that I can say that my mother is a great example of is a strong woman. She knew what she wanted. She always challenged me. So whenever I looked for somebody, you know, for myself, it was somebody that was the same, like challenging woman. And see, I think that a lot of relationships don't understand that there's a difference between somebody that is challenging and somebody that or is in a partner that is it's like almost challenging to a point that's detrimental. Like they're not for you, they're against you, you know.
I understand that. Yeah.
So with her, it was like it was never degrading, you know, it was never like disrespectful, but it was always like, okay, you know, same thing with the pandemic, you know, it's like, okay, so what are we going to do? It's cool.
Yeah.
It's fine, but we just can't sit here.
Can I share something that, and I want your thoughts on real quick?
Yeah.
So my first thought when I was having a kid, like I said, was to work overtime, to put the hours in, to get the extra paycheck, whatever it is, right? And something I learned after having Elijah was I had to redefine what it meant to, this sounds corny, redefine what it meant to love, right? Because to me, I didn't grow up religious, but I knew the story of Jesus. And for some reason, it stuck with me. For some reason, growing up, I learned for me that love was sacrifice, right? And so the more you sacrificed, the more you loved. And so if Jesus gave his life, he loves you the most, right? And so I grew up kind of seeing it that way. So when I was like with Taylor and the kids were here and I was working all these hours and I was miserable, I was also saying, oh, you're miserable. In the minority of me, right? It was like, I'm miserable, but you love them and they'll appreciate this one day and this is what needs to happen. Can you? You're not.
Oh, 100%. So my wife, she'll tell you like this, like I have my husband back. I have the kids have their father.
That's a dope thing to hear,
right?
Yeah.
So she's like, she looks at me and she'll tell me from time to time, we'll be like, I'm proud of the man you became.
Hey,
right?
Okay.
And so that makes me feel good. It's like it hits home, right?
Yeah.
Chris told me about you, man. He told me not to make me cry, but here we are.
Let's cry, baby. Take a drink. You're empty. Do you want some more? Do you want some water? I'm not gonna force you to. You gotta drive.
No.
Take a shot. Okay, go ahead and cry a little bit. Tell me your story.
No. Well, I'll let you pour it in.
You want to chill it?
Yeah. It don't matter.
All right, let's take a quick pause. So cheers for crying. We both cried a little bit, but we were talking about the idea of working more, sacrificing, or equating love to sacrifice.
Right.
But then, you made some changes, and your wife was giving you affirmation of going, "Welcome back."
Right. She again, she told me, "I'm proud of the man that you've become." Like the kids have their father, and so that really gives me an affirmation of I'm on the right path, right? So whenever you say, you're working and you're providing for them, they may not see this now that, they see I'm absent now, but they'll realize that in the future how much I sacrificed their time for me to give them what they have, what they need, provide with the house, provide with the car, the clothes and everything that they need going forward, right?
Right.
But here's the thing though. They won't see that. When you got to understand, we as adults have a different lens, right? We know we're working.
Right.
We know what that entails.
Yeah.
They don't.
Mm-hmm.
When they don't see daddy's gone.
Yeah. There's that crazy story of tell me if you heard this one, where this kid goes, "Hey dad, will you play with me?" He goes, "No, I'm working. Right. And the kid eventually goes, "Well, how much do you make when you're working?" He goes, "I make this much money per year." The kid goes back and calculates how much it is per hour, saves up the however many it is per hour, gives his dad the money per hour, and says, "Can I get an hour with you, daddy?" Bro, I read that when Elijah was still in the womb. Bro, I almost broke down. Right. I was like, oh my gosh. And to me, even at knowing that story, after he was born, I still, by nature, defaulted to, let me go get these hours in. Let me just make sure that he is good to go, because diapers cost this much. Daycare costs this much. Food all of a sudden costs this much. It is crazy. So when you heard her say, I have my husband back, they have their daddy back, how does that make you feel? How do you adjust after that?
Well, I know that. Okay, so I got furloughed during the pandemic, right? And they told me if I wanted my job back, right? Yeah. And I said, listen, I'll help you get back reacclimated and everything, but I wasn't willing to sacrifice my family again. Mm-hmm. I had learned that
blessing in disguise.
Oh yeah, it was 100%. And I had learned so many different, I guess, lessons and moments that I hadn't had.
Yeah.
That I had passed up. So sometimes you don't know until you know, right? Yeah. So for example, I was mad that my brother-in-laws helped my son learn how to ride a bike.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But until I'm sitting there riding bikes with my son, I don't realize how special that actually was.
Really?
Okay. Right. So, like I said, it's just an example, but going through life, your kid has these milestones.
Yes.
He'll remember who was there and who's not.
He will. 100%.
So it's like, are you willing to sacrifice any more milestones? I'm not.
Hey, okay. Yo, cheers to that though. Cheers to that. I get that 100%. So, you're given the option to come back. You choose to help, but not to fully commit, right? All those things. But I want to bring it back even further. You said you didn't change the confidence until a few years after you were married.
Right? Oh, okay.
But I want to go back even further, or even I don't know when that happened. But what changed? What's your son's name?
Jonathan.
What changed after Jonathan was born for you? Did anything change?
Yeah, no. I just put my head down and worked. Actually, and like you brought the story up of religion. I'm not a religious guy as far as denominations concerned, but I knew that I wanted something past this life for my son. Does that make sense?
Spiritually?
Spiritually.
Okay.
Right.
Interesting. Okay.
So not only did I want to provide for him, but at that point your clock starts ticking backwards. So growing up, no kids, single, whatever, time is like of no essence. No, for me, it wasn't a priority. It was almost as if I looked at life as infinite. Yeah. If I was immortal, yes. All these vampire movies, there's that saying they live forever.
There's a saying that time is wasted on the young because you never get it. You never understand.
Right.
You got it.
So as soon as my son was born, I remember this. So, excuse me. So as soon as my son was born, the first phone call that I either gave or received was my dad.
Okay.
Soon as I answered the phone, it's like a flood of memories come back. Right.
With you and your dad?
Right.
Oh.
And all I could get out was, I'm sorry.
You said I'm sorry to your dad.
For all the shit that I put him through.
Okay.
And I couldn't force myself to do anything else. And I had to hang up because I was bawling.
Really?
Bawling.
What was his reaction when you're saying this stuff?
He's like, okay.
It's nothing.
Yeah. Like, no, I don't know if he knew at the moment, but like, he let me, I said, I'm sorry. And he's like, okay. That's all I remember him saying. And I clicked. I hung up.
Would you say your relationship changed after you had your son?
With my, oh yeah. Well, I always had a good relationship with him, but I saw him differently.
That's 100% right.
Right. I saw him differently. So let me, and I'm gonna speak to my son real quick.
Please.
Right. You have to understand, I know that you may see me as Superman. You may see me as somebody that never messes up. All right. But I always tell him, and I would tell him, I told him just the other day, it's like, an expert isn't an expert because he never fails. An expert is an expert because he's failed all the time, and he's known every trip up and every step along the road has given him the knowledge to become better.
Yes.
Right. So I am not Superman, and I've messed up so many times that where I can tell you where the pitfalls will come. And I may not tell you every single one, but these are mine, and I'll give them to you as I see fit along the way of where you're walking. Right.
I love
so when my son was born, right, I realized that my father was not Superman.
Isn't that such a crazy moment when you realize your parent isn't a superhero?
Right.
But that was the first time?
No. Well, okay. So, there's many clues along the way.
Right. That's
but
what I'm asking.
Then like when you're the 100% knowledge of it was like, oh, I get it. Yeah. I get it. You're not perfect.
Yeah.
And it's okay to not be perfect.
Right.
But in your head, in your mind.
Better, actually.
Right.
It's not perfect.
Yeah. So I appreciated him.
That's right.
So when I'm calling him and I hear him on the phone and I'm saying, I'm sorry, it's all the memories of me and him and what he's sacrificed to to give me, right?
Yes.
And at the same time, all the bullshit that I gave him.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, realizing that he's not perfect.
Yes.
He's not Superman.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get it now. Because now the reflection of all the lessons that you've given me, I have to give to him. And I don't know if that's right. I don't know if these tools that you've given me are all the correct tools.
And including the tools that you've gotten without him to pass.
Right. No, like, see, okay.
This is why we have to have conversation like this, right? Because you have different skill sets and knowledge and tools, experiences, and I do. And I just humbly, again, I don't know shit. Right. And so I'm about to have 2 boys, and I'm like,
you know what I respect out of somebody, and I hate to bring up somebody that's
go ahead.
Like Joe Rogan.
Okay,
right?
Who's that? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Right. So Joe Rogan always said, listen, I'm a dumb idiot monkey.
He does say that, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm stupid. Yeah. Right. And to have somebody of that stature to say that they're an idiot is almost freeing for people like us.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you know what? It's okay to not know.
Yes.
It's okay to say, you know what? I don't know.
Yeah.
But that wasn't given to me. That wasn't a tool to be like, every time I asked my dad a question, he was readily with an answer, right? So
is that why you tell your son, go look it up now? You told me that you
sort of. I just don't want him to think that it's easy to have to look for an answer.
Okay. I'm with
like I'm not going to give you everything at the whim of whatever, you think. Yeah. So I know my son gets tired of me be like, hey, you know where, this comes from?
Right.
And he's like, no. And I give him the long-winded answer.
Yeah.
There's so many things like, so evolution.
Okay.
He'll ask me, why are there humans but they're still monkeys? Yeah. And I'll break it all the way down. Like we're having an hour-long conversation.
Right. But that's dope that he is curious. And he asks a question of you though.
Yeah. I force it though. But like I want him to be inquisitive.
But that's good that you put that on him. Right. I can only hope that my sons ask questions because you can get answers now. To your point, easy. You can look up on your phone. You can ask somebody. You can tell if they're right or wrong. Whatever. You can fact check somebody, right? But I think what worries me and what scares me, boys, if you do this, we're getting into a fight, is if you don't know something and you go, huh, and just walk away, I'm going to get so mad at you and tell you to get out that smartphone that you don't deserve and look it up on Google.
Right.
Because you can even ask Google. The house is smart. You can say, hey, Google, tell me. Make sure my Google's not on. Like, tell me what the answer is. And they'll tell you. But you got to be curious about it. You got to ask those things. Right. And that's why we have conversations like this. And so you're talking about how you want to give these lessons to your son. You all of a sudden appreciate your dad. And you see him as the the great human that he is. Right? Now, maybe not super, but still such a great human to give you the lessons that he's given you, for better or for worse, right? And you've taken them. I want to know, now that your relationship with your dad has changed, right? What is it like now that you have kids and they're getting older?
With my father, so my father isn't like local.
Right.
So he's far. We talk probably not as much as I want to, but he has a life that I think he wants. Like he lives in like an hour outside of San Antonio.
Yeah.
Right? He's cool. He has, his house and he's remarried and, I'm happy that he's happy. Like I think that as you go through life, you have these like pits and valleys and peaks and whatever. And at the end of the day, you want to be content,
Yes.
And I think he's content,
All right.
I don't have his vision as far as like what I want my life to be, but as long as he's okay, I'm okay. Right.
What are you doing differently from the way your father fathered you and what you're doing for Jonathan right now?
So I think a lot of us from that generation, right? So I think that generation to generation, you have these, I guess, pitfalls.
Okay.
Right. That your father will keep to himself. And with my father, it was no advice. None. It's like I can show you all day, every day.
Okay. I see what you're
it's nonverbal.
Right.
Right. He showed me how to fish. I could eat all day.
Yeah.
Every day through fishing.
Right.
But it's never like, hey, this is how you treat a woman. This is how you get girls. This is how, you raise a family.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like, follow me by example, but, don't do what I did.
Okay.
Right. It's like, it was just, everything was nonverbal with him.
Mm-hmm.
Right. With what I want to do with my son is almost completely opposite.
Okay.
Is of the appropriate age, it's like, you got a question, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
One of the things that I told you before the show, pulling the curtain, like back, is the fact that, excuse me, that I don't want to hide anything from my son. If he has a question, I'm gonna tell him.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so hard to navigate as it is in this world, and then you have so many options to choose from.
Right.
Like you said, bringing up Google. Google's not necessarily going to tell you how to raise a family.
No one knows that shit.
Right. So, you could read about it, Google it all day long, but until you're actually in it,
yeah,
you don't know. And who's the best to guide you? Who's the best to tell you as actually somebody that came right before you?
Right.
So in my instance, I had to do everything opposite of my father. Right. I remember specifically asking him for just like, hey, should I do this? Hey, should I do that? And he's like, very nonchalantly,
we talking what should I wear? Or are we talking questions like, where should I live my life? Like what kind of scale of a question are we talking about? How old are you?
It's more like family stuff.
Okay.
I never really I knew that if I would have asked him am I drinking too much?
Uh-huh.
He'd be like, I guess. It wasn't.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's the specific question.
No, I got you.
But it's along the.
Cheers. You already done. He does drink too much, Bob.
It was just whatever I felt was right, and sometimes it's good to
ask a question. Is that because he doesn't have the answer or because he wants you to figure it out?
Okay, so when you realize that your father isn't 100% Superman, right?
Right.
He's human.
Mm-hmm.
You got to realize that he came with faults himself. He came with, how did his father raise him?
Right.
So in my father's instance, right, his father passed away early.
Mm.
So he didn't really get raised with his father.
Yeah.
So he didn't have a father figure.
How much was your dad around when you were growing up?
What do you mean?
How much was your dad around when you were growing up?
I left the house when I was 16. So from,
right.
I don't know, about 10 years.
Okay.
I guess of the 16 years.
Sure, yeah.
But it's kind of weird. Anyways, so if he didn't have a father figure growing up, whatever he's teaching you is on the fly himself. It's like,
yeah, or secondhand, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's his mother was blind at an early age.
Like legally blind? Like
no, she couldn't see nothing.
Oh, okay.
Like so he didn't have like the correct tools to parent himself. So whatever he did was basically what he felt is right. Right. And it's not to say that he did bad or good or anything like that. It's just like,
it is what it is.
Right. And so when he passed on, I had to be like, okay, I'm going to take this. I'm going to take that. I'm not going to take this. And I'm going to build whatever it is for me to, and not only that, like you and me have these conversations of parenting off the record, of course. And it's all learning for me. Like I'm taking whatever you give, I'm taking from whatever, because now since my dad was so closed, I'm more like a sponge. I'm like taking from everybody and then I'll mix it in a melting pot and take from what I think that is the best.
See, I don't know if that's right or wrong. I think it's actually better that you get to do that because, you know, whether a dad is good or bad in general, if you're not mature enough to be able to pick and choose what lessons are applicable, what you want for your own kids, and you're just taking whatever you got and doing it again, then that cycle will never get better. I'm not saying it's good to start with or bad to start with, but it will never get better, right? So the fact that you get to take, or that you've chosen to take the good, the bad from your father, from me. I have nothing to give you, by the way. But for great dads like Chris, right? Like, you know, all these things. I think that's dope, man. I think that's such a good thing for you to do for your kids. You know, I give you props for that, bro.
Hey, man, did we just become best friends?
Well, we've been best friends.
Oh.
You just found out.
You
just found out.
You right. No, I think shout out to Chris. He's actually, you know, who I say is my best friend, but he's actually to me is right.
I'm his best friend, Chris.
To me, he's like more like my brother. Like I look at him as almost like blood.
For real?
Like, oh, 100%.
I can't even stand him, dude. His breath stinks.
He's well, you know, I've been around it so long. He's been somebody that has always been able to be a backboard of like the other day, I felt like I was having a panic attack, right? Okay. I'm all about mental health, right? But it's not necessarily you don't have to go to, and I'm not saying everybody's the same way, but it's not necessarily you have to go to psychologists or psychiatrists or something. Sometimes it's just about getting it off your chest.
Oh yeah.
Right? So like I'm out there running and it's just like, it hits me like a ton of bricks. And the first person I call is Chris.
Yeah.
And all I needed was to hear me out. Right? That's all I needed.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, you know, you want to punch a pillow, or you want to, you know, do this and this and that. Everybody has a different outlet. My outlet is verbally getting it out. Actually hearing myself. Yeah. You know, have you ever heard of affirmation?
Oh yeah.
Right. Well, you have certain things in your head that you need to speak out loud. What through affirmation is like, for example, is like, you know, you're the best, right? Uh-huh. Sometimes your brain doesn't realize that you're saying it. All you need to do is have your brain hear it.
I see.
And it makes you feel like a certain way. So sometimes you have problems, right? You don't know how to solve them, but it's all internal. Mm-hmm. But your brain doesn't know if you speak your problems out loud or if somebody else is speaking your problems and you're hearing it.
Yes.
But your brain will automatically be like, okay, this is what you need to do, or this is how you should solve it, right, or kind of like problem solve for you.
Yeah.
And so Chris has always been that backboard for me.
Yep.
And sometimes the sounding board off that backboard is what I needed to hear.
Good.
So he's always been that person that for me, as a, you know, a lot of it has to do now as I'm older, about being a father, about being a husband. You know, I don't have many friends that, and it's, my fault too, but have the same situation I'm in. Like, he's raising a 16-year-old, I'm raising an 11. Yeah. She's like 18 now. 18. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I know.
I can't even grow a mustache. Dude. What the fuck, Josh?
Shout out Josh.
Josh is to be on Grwn Talk.
He's married, I'm married.
Yeah.
And, as far as like, besides you, that's basically it.
Yeah.
That's where my road ends.
It gets weird when you get into a relationship and then when you get married and when you have kids, the circle is just, it gets weird. Like the circle of friends that you have, it gets weird because it's always weird when you're like a parent and you want to hang out with people who don't have kids. I love my friends who don't have kids, but it's just different when I talk to you because if I say shit like, the kid had a blowout, like whatever, like a diaper, look, automatically like what the shit means, right? Or like, the kid's running right now outside. It's like, it's nothing. Like we know, like the kid's outside, like whatever. If I have a single friend over and they hear Elijah crying, they're like, is he okay? I don't know. He's fine. He's fine. He's not dying. So if he's crying, he's breathing. He's fine.
So check this out. My sister-in-law brought her kids over, right?
Yeah.
And she had to go do an errand or work or something like that. I'm not too sure. I'm the only adult in this house. Okay. So I got her 3 kids and my 2 kids, right?
I'm sorry.
Her youngest is a year, still in diapers.
Yeah.
Right? And I told her, he changed?
Yeah.
Yes. The use the restroom? Yes. He's used the restroom. He's, done all number 1, number 2. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, good. Because I'm not changing no diaper.
Right.
Tell me why I know for 100% fact I am done after 2 kids. This dude takes a shit.
Yeah.
And is flaunting his shit all over the house.
Oh, hell no. No.
I go, come here. He's like, he knows. He knows. He's all shitty. And I'm like, come here. And like, I smell. And of course, the first thing he's like,
he knows what he did, yeah.
Oh my God. And like, I'm like, this is it. I'm done. I'm not changing. I'm done. I applaud you.
For what?
Because you're about to have another one.
You applaud me or you feel bad for me? I can't tell.
No. It's a beautiful thing.
Okay.
It's a gorgeous thing. Now, can I ask you something? I don't mean to take over this interview.
It's us.
But are you done or are you gonna try to have a girl?
No, I'm getting snipped, bro.
That's it?
Bro, as soon as the next one comes out and he's healthy, right? Like he's sustaining life, I'm getting snipped.
Really?
Hell yeah.
I asked my wife a couple of days ago, like, so if I get snipped, you're okay with that? She's like, well, 100%. I'm like, cool.
Yeah. Right. Well, our plan anyway, or we talk about this because we've known each other for so long, is we wanted to have 2 kids, and then if we do get the urge, or if we continue to be blessed enough to do it, we want to adopt a 3rd.
Okay. Yeah, we thought about that too.
Yeah. I mean, it's
like I'm like, but 2 years old now. I'm not changing no more diapers.
100%. Like I want to know him or her before they have memories. But I'm not gonna change any more diapers.
Right.
I'm good to go.
Right,
you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's the plan.
What about your wife Taylor? Right?
Yeah.
She doesn't have the urge for a girl.
Nah, she wants to be a boy mom. And again, if we want to have another kid, we'll adopt a girl. If that's what it is, or whatever fits. I don't know how it works. Like if you know with the kid, and it's always been the plan to do 2 and adopt, and whether it was a boy or a girl, it just is what it is, and we just happen to have 2 boys.
I will say this: like, if I knew for 100% it'd be another boy,
yeah,
I would have a boy. I would have another baby.
I gotta tell you, I'm scared shitless to have a girl.
I would never have another
Bless
girl.
You.
Like,
and she's 6?
Yeah, she's about to be. But the difference between a boy and a girl is so, and I don't want to try to force this on you. Like, I'm not trying to.
I'm having 2 boys. I'm done.
Okay.
Speak your truth.
I don't want to make you feel like you have to have a girl now, right? It's 180. Like, it's just like, if I were to miss one of those milestones, compared to my son, the ones I missed for him, it would be detrimental to the point where, like, I would never forgive myself
For her.
For her.
So you love her more than you love him?
No,
Who's
it's
your
like
favorite?
I think that, you know, unfortunately, this is the way it is for me, whether it's innate or not. But like, I feel like my son's strong enough to deal without. Like, my daughter couldn't.
He's also 11.
He's a man.
He's a young man already. He's making decisions. If he hasn't already, in a year or two, he's gonna start disappearing to the bathroom for 2 hours, dude. Like, am I wrong? Like, this is Grwn Talk.
Right.
This is what I'm saying. Like, he's not gonna want you around very much longer. You absolutely want these milestones while you can still have it.
Well, the way my dad did it, and I think subconsciously I did the same thing, was like, my dad let my mother handle me until I was into my puberty years.
You know, I've heard this theory where it's the mothers raise kids and then dads raise men.
Right. I think that's the approach I've taken without even thinking about it.
Really?
Yeah. So, like, now we're battling. I'm like, my wife still sees my son as a kid.
This is interesting to me. Okay.
So we have this argument, right? We live in a neighborhood that's next to a busy street.
Okay.
Right. So that street is like both sides total eight lanes deep. Right.
Oh, it's busy.
Right.
That's a big lane.
So at my age, at the time I was his age, I was riding my bike everywhere.
I was gone. Y'all see you when it gets dark.
Right.
Maybe.
Right. Exactly. Yes. I remember getting whippings because I didn't come back by dark.
I'll call you from the neighbor's house. Like that. Yes.
My wife won't let him go out the neighborhood.
Is it different now?
Why is it different?
I don't know. Pedos and shit. Like, I don't.
No. See,
I'm genuinely asking because my boys are little and I don't know what the rules like. I'm more than happy to put them outside all day. 100%.
Right.
And I am way more risk adverse than Taylor is, because Taylor, I feel, might be more like your wife. But because I grew up the way you grew up back in the 70s, I'm more than happy to, like, go do what you do. And if he comes back, bumps, bruises, you're not dead, I'm okay.
So my son the other day, he gets attacked by a dog, right? The dog, I don't know what happened, but the dog never bit him. But he takes off.
Okay.
One from the gate, we're different. I'm putting my back against the wall and I'm fighting. Like, I'll go down swinging, right?
Okay.
But with my son, he took off. He scrapes his knee. Good job. And I say that very chauvinistically, and I realize that.
Yeah.
He didn't cry.
For scraping his knee.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But his mother wasn't around. Right. Soon as his mother gets around, right, at the house when he comes home.
That's crying.
No. He's the most injured person in all of Houston.
Because
like, there's nobody in Benton.
Huh? Because we act how we're allowed to act.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Elijah falls on all the time now, and Taylor was good about this. When he falls down, she goes, safe. Like baseball.
Okay.
Right? So it's like, you slid into home, you got scratched up, safe.
Yeah.
And he goes, he cries, and we go, you good? Okay.
Right.
We'll move on. But now that he's older, she's slowly
right. So my son hobbles around the house. Like, I'm like, dude, just walk normal.
Yeah.
All you got is scabs. You're okay.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, no, it hurts. It hurts. I'm like, whatever. Right? So going back to my son being able to ride his bike everywhere, I'm like, when you get there, call me.
That's a responsible thing to say.
Right?
Yeah.
When you get there, call me. I know you're good.
Does he have a phone already?
Well, whenever, like the neighbor's house.
Okay.
Whatever. His uncle lives literally a block away.
Okay.
She won't let him go.
Oh.
Right? So you brought up today about, like, safety issues.
Pedo,
right.
Like all the shit.
Right. Here's the thing though.
Okay.
Let's be honest. That's bullshit.
Is it?
Look up the stats.
I'm gonna look it up now, wait. Chris tells me all the time.
Yeah, because Chris is like my wife. Everything is risk averse. And anyways, so if you look up the stats, crime is actually down compared to the 1980s, the 1970s.
It's publicized more.
100%.
Interesting.
Information is immediate now.
Right. Okay.
So, like, there's no such thing as Amber Alert. I'm sick and tired of Amber Alert, but guess what? It's worked.
Oh, I'm glad it's there.
Right. Wait, at 6 o'clock in the morning, it's a little bit, much, but like, whatever, whatever. I'm being facetious here, but at the same time, it's like, we got Amber Alert, we have, Instagram, Facebook, we got the news that's online. Everything is immediate and real time compared to what it was back then. Yeah. So if you go back and you look at the kidnappings and all that stuff, it's actually the best it's ever been. I mean, as far as like kids and stuff like that, but you can do stuff like, give them. Oh, I'm used to dogs, so I thought that was a dog's name. Anyways, you can give them a cell phone. You can give them they got these little air tags now, whatever. But
people put air tags on their kids.
I would. You wouldn't?
I mean, I don't know. He's not even that old yet. I mean, by the time he gets old, I'm gonna chip him. You know what I mean? I don't know, man.
Can you imagine the technology they're gonna have when they grow up?
It's bananas. I'll give him a bracelet or something. I don't know, but it's look, my kid is cute, dude. I'm not saying your kid's cute. I haven't seen your kid, but my kid's definitely going for at least $500. You know
that
what I mean?
lollipop. Oh, God.
You see that video? Bro, he knows the game.
Check out this guy's Instagram. Jesus Christ. I thought he was going to give the lollipop to his mother. And I was like, it says in the quotations, watch to the end. So he's walking around. He does like a whole 360 circle looking for whoever he's looking for, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, he doesn't see his mom. No. The cutest little white girl. And he's like, oh, I got a lollipop. I'm going to give it to her. Like, that's game at like a year and a half.
And then what does he do right after he gives it to her?
I think he gives her a hug, right?
Gives her a hug and then walks over.
Full circle, man.
I've never taught
He's my spirit animal.
Bro, I'm retired from game, okay? So I don't know where he gets this from. I never give his mom a lollipop. Hell no, I'll take that shit. So I don't know where he gets it from, but respect. I think he's just a sweet kid, and I think he knows what he likes, and the fact that he wants to give her girl a lollipop, bless him. And she's so sweet. Like, she's like, give me a hug and all these things. But that's why I'm like, we'll be back for a second, right? So with confidence and everything, your son's he's 11 now. Is he expressing interest in people yet?
You brought up something that I think that we as parents are going to have to deal with, and it's very hard, and you will too.
Tell me.
Social media for them is
good. Almost, that's my follow-up question is, how do you...
No, it's tough, man. It's like, so we've had to ground him from social media. There's, Instagrams, Facebook, all that stuff, right? So he doesn't have an Instagram. He doesn't have Facebook, but he found Discord, right?
Oh, yeah.
And Discord is a gaming community. Well, at least from what I understand, it started that way, right?
It reminds me of like the OG, like AOL chat rooms.
See, I was before that. Like chat rooms were kind of kind of new to me, right?
Yeah. I came out right around that, but yeah, I mean, there's like a bunch of communities and like chats,
but it's not regulated.
Oh, 100%.
Right. So same concept, right?
Yeah.
So, you look at it and it's like, I say 11 going on 14. Literally, he tells girls he's 14 years old.
He's lying about his age
already, but he's not the only one.
Oh, I bet.
And it's like we have those innate wants to be older than we are when we're yet. So we're gonna do that, especially if you're behind a keyboard. Nobody really can fact check you.
Oh yeah,
it's like all day, every day. So I just found out the other day he's on Discord again.
Oh,
and I put him aside, like, you're not supposed to be on.
Daddy knows everything. Whoop that.
It's funny because at the end of the day, your kids think they're getting away with stuff, but they have no idea that you did.
Bro, it makes me so sad to know that every time I thought I was being slick growing up, I was not being slick. I was just getting away with it. Like they were
You're
letting
just
me get
getting started.
Bro,
You're
just
just
so
getting
mad. I thought I was so slick. I don't know shit. So he's on Discord and stuff, and he's lying about his age.
Yeah, and he did it again, and so but he knows. Like the good thing about truth and consequences is like once you realize that there's consequences to your actions.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, I messed up.
Yeah,
and I had to deal with it. So the first time,
that's an important lesson.
The first time I caught him on Discord and saying things he shouldn't have said, lying about his age.
How do you know? I'm sorry. How do you know that what he's saying? Can you see at the chats or?
Like, oh yeah, 100%.
Oh,
it's like a text chain.
I don't know how this works, dude.
I'm telling you.
Okay.
Yeah. You could see. You go years back. Whatever.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm not saying he did, but I'm just saying in general. Like you can go back however long, especially if you don't erase it. And again, he thinks he's being slick. Nobody's gonna know what Discord is, right? Because I'm 40 years old, right? So, anyways, the first time, like it was bad. It was to the point where like he was messing up in school. He was, playing too much on the PlayStation.
Yeah. And
Discord was another thing. And that's what actually got him into Discord was like they took the chat on PlayStation and put on to Discord.
Yeah.
And so I looked back and I was like, oh no, this is not the road we want to go. And I tried to give him a chance and he still thought he was slick.
Yeah.
PlayStation's gone.
Yeah.
Right. I believe, like, not to say I don't believe in spankings, but I can count on my hand how many times I've ever hit him on one hand, right? But I believe in like every now and then you got to go crazy. Not on him, but like you have to show out a little bit. So what I did when that happened, I took his PlayStation, took him outside, and I beat the shit out of the PlayStation.
Hell yeah. That dude ran over it with a lawnmower.
I took a bat.
Let's go.
I was like, I not only that, I mean, if I don't know, my wife,
that's right or wrong, but I like it.
Okay, so I lifted it up, slammed it down, stomped on it, got the bat, beat it a little bit more, and I was like, I didn't say it, but like I wanted him to feel like if that was him, that was it.
What did your wife
He's
say?
crying.
What'd your wife
like,
say?
My wife thought I was crazy. She thought I was going insane.
That's funny.
Right? But like at the end when like she was like, okay, well, I get that.
Yeah.
And it's not that I was raging. I think I did it more to make a point.
Okay.
Right? And I think that sometimes you have to make a point. Like sometimes it's not about like, I'm not a big yeller. I don't like yelling.
Yeah.
I don't like getting to that point. I like to always be in control. But at the same time, it's like sometimes I think it's necessary to make sure that this is a moment.
Yes.
This is something that you'll never forget. So when he got back on Discord, thinking he was being slick.
On his computer or something? Or
on his tablet. He has a tablet for school.
Yeah.
Mainly, but it's his tablet.
Sure.
I'm like, you're not supposed to be on Discord, right? Yeah. Like, you're grounded, right? Yeah.
Didn't lie about it. I respect that.
Right. So he comes back a couple days later. He's like, can I have can I take my iPod to a friend's house?
Yeah.
Like, no. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Like it's like 100% okay.
Yeah.
Like he understands the consequences to what he did.
Good.
And that's all I want. At the end of the day, you have certain actions and we all have consequences to it. And because, I feel like I'm running a little long here, but
good.
So I know you. You're my son.
Uh-huh.
You are a good kid. You messed up here, you messed up there.
Yes.
But the moment that you let your actions get into the legal system, completely different. It's now a judge sitting above you guys, and there's a prosecutor trying to paint you that doesn't know you, the worst person in the world, versus somebody else, again, that doesn't know you. Whether I don't know if he's going to put the best defense up for you.
Right.
Depends on how much money you have.
Right.
Now I'm judge, jury, but I love you. They don't give a shit about you.
That's a great point.
Right?
Yeah.
They don't care. So let me do my best to make sure you never fall into that. Yeah. Because once that, they say once you get into the legal system and you mess up and you get convicted, the chances of you being a reoccurring criminal, felon, whatever, 90%. Once you're in that,
yeah, it's a lie.
It's
high.
I'd never want him to be in that.
It's interesting. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions because Elijah's 2 now, and he's at the age where he is starting to make decisions. Yeah, I think that's the right way to say it. He's starting to make decisions and starting to see where the boundaries are, right? And so I'm very conscious of correcting in the moment and making sure if it's a teachable moment to somehow make him understand this is good, this is bad, this is why it's bad, right? Because I'll share my worry with you, and you can kind of chime in how you did it with Jonathan. Is I'm worried that if I don't correct it, 1, on the spot, that's going to happen again. And then 2, if I don't have him somehow understand what he did wrong, then he's just not going to do it because he doesn't want to get in trouble. Right? I need him to understand why it's bad. So like if he hits somebody, I don't want to go, this is my mindset right now. You tell me I'm just full of shit. So I don't want to just go, hey, don't hit that person.
Right.
I want to somehow tell him, hey, don't hit that person because this person could get hurt. This is, you don't want this person to feel bad. Whatever the consequence of his action is, I want him to understand that without, just making him feel bad that he made a mistake. Like, am I making sense here?
No, 100%.
Because he's so young,
right?
I feel like if I don't do it now, to your point, and he hits 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and he hasn't figured out why he can't do some things or why he can't think. Like, that's one thing I want. I want him to understand, to be able to think why it's wrong.
Okay.
Right? So, yeah, go ahead.
Here's my number one advice that you can do, and I've noticed that parents throughout, as long as I can remember any situation, any example that you're talking to and talking about, is stop looking at your kid as a child. Not in a bad way, don't get me wrong. He's always going to be a kid, but treat him as if he was an adult, in a sense of like, talk to him like an adult.
Okay.
Don't baby him into be like, oh, that's bad. Don't do that. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Listen, that wasn't nice. That wasn't good. That hurts other people.
Yeah.
Right. It's okay to talk to him as an adult. You'll once you do it the first time, you understand where he will understand where he won't. Yeah. Right. And then you can adjust accordingly. But as long as you treat him as an equal,
yes,
he'll understand that and he'll pick up.
Yeah.
Because once you do it the first time and he's 1, 2, right? Then at 3 and 4, he's going to understand better.
Because right now is that time.
Right.
He's starting to do these things.
Right.
Let me, he's good. He understands no, but I'm just so conscious about wanting him to understand why it's no. I get he may not be able to understand it right away or the concept right away.
Right.
But again, to your point, just knowing what I know now, going through the things that I went through growing up and not understanding why. Like, here's one thing I hated growing up was, you can't do it because I told you so. Ooh, right. I hated that to this day. Or like, I don't have to explain it. I'm mom, I'm dad. That bugs me so bad because not even as a kid or a son, just as a human.
There's no explanation behind that.
None. It's like, okay, like if you don't want me to go across the street, it's such an arbitrary rule. It's such bullshit. I'm like, why? I'm still probably going to do it to find out why.
Right.
But if you told me, hey, there's a fucking child rapist across the street. All right, well, I don't want to get raped, so maybe I won't go across. You know what I'm saying? Like that's always my worst fear is getting raped. So I can't go to prison. But you see what I'm saying? Like, so that's where we're at now with Elijah. Is he's starting to make decisions on his own, right? Like he's giving lollipops to girls and shit,
right?
But
that is
at the same time,
that's crazy.
Look, but thin line, he went around and he pinched some girl's butt,
or
her leg because he can't reach the butt, right? And I was like, hey. We don't touch girls like that.
Right.
Right. And I don't think he understands it yet, but I want to make sure I catch that so fast. Because of
that's another thing that I fear with my son, because like the anonymity of big word. I didn't even know if I was going to say that
son,
right.
it's huge.
So the anonymity for somebody to be behind the keyboard and being able to say things without consequence,
100%,
right, is something I have high fears about, because that's one thing I wasn't used to. Right, and
it's a different game than we were growing up.
I told him the other day, I'm like, the one thing I hate about a trait of a person is to be two different people, right? So if I'm with you and you act a certain way, but as soon as I leave, you act a different way, right? Or behind the veil of secrecy or anonymity, you are a different person as opposed to who you are one-on-one. That's not cool for me. Like, you have to be who you are. That goes into the confidence. That goes into relying on who you present yourself. People are gonna accept, and if they don't, it's okay.
Right.
I didn't have that.
That's a big thing. If they don't, it's okay.
Right. And so, again, going back to my whole spiel about confidence and stuff like that, I was scared that if who I was showing myself out to be, I wouldn't be able to be accepted, because I had moved so much. So
you got that.
Right. So until my wife broke it down for me and like said, hey, no more of this, BS.
Yeah.
Then I was fully able to, let that veil go. So with my son I'm trying to guide him to where he doesn't have to have that insecurity. I know he's going to go through it.
Right. Right.
There's no way for me to circumvent
we do
puberty,
our best,
right?
As fathers, yeah.
And everybody's trying to make it, right? And everybody wants to be accepted. There's nothing wrong with that. But to have the confidence, and it goes to my son, it's like, to have the confidence of being yourself and being willing to be accepted, and also being willing to not be accepted and being okay with that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, he's trying to be 14 because he wants to be accepted around the peers that he's talking to.
Which is crazy, because the coolest kids are the ones that don't give a fuck. Really?
I don't necessarily think.
The coolest guys I always looked up to had zero.
So you're from Hawaii, right? I know a little bit.
In high school, but
right.
I grew up all over the place like you did. And like, it wasn't until I was about your age, about 11, 12. I wouldn't say nerdy, but I was, I enjoyed studying. I enjoyed doing well, right? And like, my mom, she didn't dress me, but she bought my clothes. So my wardrobe was limited. You know what I mean? And all these things. And I didn't know I was nerdy and geeky and all these other things. And it wasn't until I met one of my best friends, Ryan Sullivan, at the time, and he put me on games, like, hey, maybe we should dress like this. But he was also in the gifted and talented program. He was super smart.
Really?
And he was a baller.
See, I had the complete opposite.
Really? And so I had this guy, and he co-signed me at 11.
Wow. And
I was this nerdy kid. And again, I didn't know I was nerdy, right? Or geeky, whatever, but I definitely wasn't cool. But he co-signed me, and the way I watched him navigate, he just had, maybe he did care, but he just didn't act like he cared about girls and clothes. He was just naturally so cool. He's a black kid, right? He's just naturally so cool, and his parents were so cool, and he just had this like swag, this like sauce about him. And that's what I learned growing up, was like, don't care so hard. And if you want to put the cool clothes on, like, yeah, it'll, if you look good, you feel good, you do good. I get that 100%. But the freedom of being cool is like the freedom of being financially free, like not having to worry about being cool or not. That's cool to me. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, like,
well, see,
go ahead.
Whenever I was growing up, my mom bought my clothes, but I didn't like what she bought. So I had like a few things that I liked, and I wouldn't deviate from that.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So my get up was, have you ever seen that sweater? That Versace sweater that Biggie always used? Okay. I had a t-shirt like that, right?
The purple, yellow.
Yeah. I had a t-shirt like that with some corduroy pants.
Ooh,
some tan. Bro, I thought I was the shit.
You are the shit.
That was horrible. That was as a 10, 11-year-old, that was the worst thing.
I see what you're saying.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody, I got clowned, but that was my thing. Like that's what I identified with, and that was what made me cool. What made me, and it you know, at the end of the day, it was something that I look back on myself now. I think I did it out of spite, you know, because I didn't like whatever my mom was.
Yeah.
Like, for example, she said that I couldn't cut the sides of my hair because gangsters would cut the sides of their hair. Like, I couldn't get fades, right?
That's fine. I couldn't get Cortezes.
Right. So what I would do was I would cut the top of my hair as short as I could. And I swear to God, I look like Homie the Clown. Imagine Homie the Clown with the corduroys.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
And I was the worst. Like everybody deals with bullying, I guess, a little bit. But I got bullied.
Oh, like, yeah. Did you own it though? Or were you embarrassed about it?
No. I look back at it now, I'm like, you know, I was so like rebellious against my mom that I was like, you know, I was almost indignant to the bullying. It was like people would rag on me. I was just like, I don't care, you know, whatever.
But that's cool to me. I guess I'm kind of figuring this out right now during this conversation. Cool to me is it not necessarily like, you know, you got the best things or the coolest things or like whatever, or you dressed have a certain way. To me, cool is a confidence where you just have zero inhibitions, zero like care about what people think. It's just, I'm gonna do what I want because this feels good for me, and you could get with it or not.
Have you ever? I don't know this for a fact, but I'm assuming you have. Have you ever been in a fight?
Yeah, funny.
All right, so
not recently, kids.
Right. I don't think I've been in a fight in a while, but I can't remember. Anyways, so have you ever gotten into a fight with somebody and y'all became like best friends?
It's the best way to become friends,
right? You know why?
As young men,
right. Women, you know why?
Because you respect it.
Yes.
Okay, but why?
But also because all the shit that you thought you were like so full of, right?
Yeah.
They tested it.
Yeah.
Right? Y'all tested each other.
Yeah.
Right? And y'all found out what was real and what was not.
Yes.
And once that veil comes down, it's like y'all can be real with each other.
Yeah.
And that's why y'all become best friends. I've done that with I have numerous times in my life where I can say like, you know, we got to the point where we went to blows or close to, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, we're not bullshitting each other no more.
Yeah.
This is the worst we can be, but now we're going to show who we really are.
Right.
And so I think that in general, that happens. Like once you can let that veil go down, and show, and people accept you for the worst of you, that's when you can be like, you're free.
Yeah.
You're free to be yourself.
That's the dream. It's like just not caring. But and to your point, you know, when you fight somebody, I did not want to go this way. Kids, don't get in a fight.
Listen, look, I'm not gonna fight you, dude.
Has your son been in a fight yet?
Huh?
Has your son been in a fight yet?
He's slick. Oh, he's slick.
What's that mean?
So he knows how to avoid them. He knows how to get into
like
him.
To slip or to like to out of the situation.
So let me give you an example. So the other day, he's riding his bike. Somebody, hey, that's a cool bike. Let me see.
Oh, hell no.
Right. He's like, let me ride it. And he grabs on my son's handlebars. And my son handlebars like, hey, he takes it and he twists it so the guy lets go. And he's like, okay, yeah, meet me over here.
Yeah. And
so the guy lets him, and he's like 14, really 14. He lets him go over there. Soon as my son gets around there, he turns the corner, he's gone.
That's
so every time something like that happens, he's like intelligent enough to get himself out of it. So
that's smart.
That's his mother. That's his mother. That's all his mother. I would have probably got my ass beat.
For real?
Yeah. I've got my stuff stolen.
I mean, I think back in the day, if I can get out, I'm getting out. But if the back is against the wall, we're gonna go. Right. Or
but see, he's never had his back against the wall.
Or if it's for I don't know if this is the most mature thing to say since watching this back. Or if it's like a respect thing. right? As a young kid, like if this happened one time, like let's say you're on the playground and you're a kid, whatever, and then this kid starts calling you out, right? This happened to me, and he goes, "Oh, you want like we get into a situation, and the circle happens with the kids. You can't get out, right? So in that case, I swing, I go, whether." And this is the kid who's like 2-3 years older than me at the time. And I don't lose, but I don't win. Right? Well, that's enough for me to maintain my respect.
Right.
And for some reason, that was important to me as a kid was you may be bigger than me, but I will never be your bitch. Like ever.
No.
Like I've never got my sneakers taken. I've never got my bike stolen. I've never gotten money taken from me for lunch. Ever. They've tried. Like, here's a great example. I'm 13 years old. Don't do this, by the way. But if you do, we'll understand. I'm 13 years old. I'm living in Kansas at the time. I'm one of 2 Asian kids. The other Asian kid is cool as fuck. He's cool, man. He's legit. He has the K-Swisses on with the slits in the eyebrows and everything. He's cool, right? I am not. I'm wearing cargo sweats that aren't fitted with like some Payless shoes. I love those shoes. It just wasn't what the kids wanted. I have my CD player out, and I got like probably Big Willie Sour or some shit in there, right? Something crazy. And I go to my locker, and it's gone. My CD player is gone. My CD's gone. Granted, I probably shouldn't have brought it to school anyway. It's gone, and I see this kid snickering at me from across the hall, looking at me, and I know for a fact he has my CD player. And so my buddy, who's his white boy from Kansas, looks at me and goes, "Dang, that sucks." When someone says that sucks, it means you're not getting it back, right? So I go up to the kid. I say,
was snickering?
Yeah. I say, "Hey, I know you have it. Where is it?" And he plays stupid. I don't got it. Yo, just give it back. Like, it's not a big thing. Just give it back. And I'm this nerdy kid. And I just know this is not about to happen. He goes, "I don't got it. What are you talking about?" His boys are laughing at me because they know he has it. I kid you not, bro. I grab him by his throat and I put him against the locker. And he's probably a couple inches taller than me. I say, "Hey, give me it back or I'll knock the crap out of you right now." And people didn't know back then, I was fighting full time, like in Taekwondo. Like I was competing nationally. So like I knew what I was doing, but I don't dress cool. Like I just know how to knock someone the fuck out. And so and you've probably seen it before. Like when you look into another person's eyes and they get scared, he has that look. I go, "Give it back now, or I will punch you in the mouth so hard that your friends will feel it." And that's such a dumb line to say, but as a kid, you're like, "That's the shit," right? And so
I'm like, "Did you actually say that?"
Yeah, you asked my boy. I was like, "Your boys will feel it," because I knew. The only reason why I said that is because there was 3 of them and 1 of me. So I had to somehow figure out how to scare them.
Yeah. I wish I was that intelligent.
Look, no, I was gonna get my ass beat. Right? There's 3 of them. No matter how good you are, there's 3 of them.
Right.
You're gonna get your ass beat. And I'm like little. And so he goes, "No, let me go. I was like, "All right, cool. You don't have it. Fine." So I let him down, and I let him go. And my boys like grabbed me like, "We gotta go to class." I get called to the principal's office, and the guy's like, "Andrew, is it true you did this to this boy?" I was like, "Yeah, I did. He has my CD player." And I get in trouble for bringing the CD player to school. He goes, why would you bring something like that to school, right? And he calls my parents up, and my dad's like, "Well, does he have it?" And so somehow the CD player shows up in the office, like the principal's office, like by the end of the day, and calls me up and goes, "Hey, this was returned here. So is this yours?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Take it back. Don't bring it in here." And he let me go. I didn't get in trouble or anything. And I saw the kid the next day, and I just looked at him, and he knew that I knew it was him. Never gave me any problems. But that's how it was like growing up. I don't know. I just never took shit like that. But
well, I think
and that's not the right way to do it.
Well, you brought up something that's very interesting. Like, I think that like martial arts are very important. I have my son in wrestling for a little bit.
That's right, yeah.
And I think it teaches you structure, and respect is huge in martial arts.
And Rogan talks about this, because you talked about Rogan earlier, just being humbled constantly.
Right.
Just get your ass beat.
Exactly. So I personally, I had to go through different situations where, I got my shoes stolen. Like you said, you never did this, but I always got it stolen.
But there are times, but the only reason why I didn't get stolen is because it was always like one or two people. If it was like a really big dude, or if it was like today, especially today, right? If someone says like, "Yo, I like those shoes. What size are they?" Because they say
right.
Yeah, just take that shit, bro. You must need that shit, right? But because today, especially at our age, you don't know who's packing. You don't know who's a real fighter these days. Especially as a kid, that's so ignorant of me. Like some kid, especially like the crowds we were hanging out with, I probably should have got stabbed so many times. There's so many times we got knives pulled on us, and I was like, "This is dumb. Like, why am I doing this right now?"
Wow,
like, knives or guns. I was like, "Bro, like as a high school kid, like this is stupid. Like, what are we doing right now?" And so I got really lucky. But to your point, yeah, martial arts are important because they humble you.
I think that's the most important thing. Like, I think that everybody, and I speak for my son, right? I think that, and I tell my wife all the time, you're setting him up to get punched in the face. And when he does, it's going to humble him.
But getting punched in the face is one of the best things that can happen. I'm not gonna speak for young ladies because I just don't know.
Right.
But for me, getting punched in the face showed me early on in my flight or fight. Right. And sometimes running is the right answer. Sometimes if you can get away, that's the right answer. But there are times when I've been back against the wall and I said, I'm going to have to fight. And just having the experience of getting punched in the face before and going, you know what? You might get your ass beat, but you've gotten your ass beat before and you made it out okay.
Right.
As a young kid.
I think that's what it really boils down to, because you realize that you're human, but you'll bounce back,
Yes, it builds the resilience.
I think that the anticipation of being hit is a lot worse than actually being hit.
Oh, 100%.
Right. So like when my son figures out ways to get out of like being in a conflict situation, he's doing it because he doesn't want to get hit. Of course, nobody wants to get hit, but the day where he has to really deal with those dire consequences, he's not going to know how to deal. For me, what martial arts taught me was to stay calm. So basically, every situation that I've ever been that's a high stress situation, my go-to, my flight or fight, synopsis in my head goes to almost like slow-mo.
Yeah, just calm it down.
It goes to the point where it's like people don't realize I'm like in a dire situation. And it's weird. It's something that I don't think that I even think about. So the last time I had it was, side note, I was choking.
Okay.
Right. I bit a piece of fajita meat that was too big, and I was kind of drunk. Right. I was drinking a little bit.
What is happening right now?
Right. And I was like, I can make this. It's okay. And I was forcing myself to swallow it.
Bro, that's the alcohol talking. That's not you playing, bro.
Bro. So I'm like, it's not going down and it's not coming back up now. So I go to my buddy that's sitting like damn near you and me. And I'm like, hey, but I can't verbalize it. I'm like, do this. Like, and I'm calm as a whistle. Like I'm not showing any type of distress, but I'm like, and he's like, he pushes me.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, no. And I get close to him, like almost like uncomfortably close. And he like really pushes me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, okay. Like he doesn't understand. I'm really about to die here. I reach in my mouth and I literally grab as far as I can go and grab the piece of meat and I take it out. I'm like, bro, dude, I was about to die. And he's like, I didn't know. How was I supposed to know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, at some point, when these situations happen, I gotta have a little, like, I have to flail. A little bit.
Yeah,
but I don't have that response. I don't go stress. I don't flight. I think the one and only time I got jumped, the first thing I did was get against the wall. so nobody could get behind me.
Yeah.
You know, like I would take beatings all day, every day.
Yeah.
But in front of me.
Yeah.
You know, but as long as I didn't know, I knew
try not to fall down. Yeah.
Nobody was behind me. I could, and it's just weird, but I wish my son could get that, you know.
Is that weird to say for anyone who may not be a parent? Cause I get that 100%. Like I told Taylor this the other day, and I don't know if she fully understands, but like I was saying to Elijah and to Zeke, I was like, I hope they get into their first altercation. Oh, yeah, I hope you get into one, but I hope you get into one early. So you know how to get in and out of it later on. You don't have to do it later on. Because if I had known what I know now, which is always the phrase, right, is I would have not wilded out, but I would have like swung maybe a little bit more harder when I was a little kid. Because you can't get hurt as a little kid like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you can learn more as a kid. And I'm talking in the street and also like in my martial arts tournaments. Like, you know, I'm like, just go. Like just go. And just learn when you're early because you got that time to heal, to rebound, to all those things. And I was like, I hope he gets punched in the face early.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I think that it humbles you in a sense, but like you were saying, like I would never put myself in a situation that would jeopardize my life.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like in a road rage incident, I don't need to, you know, prove anything to anybody.
I think that's what it is. Like if you've ever gotten to a real fight, I don't think you road rage. I mean, I think you
might be right.
I think you do, but I don't think it's like to the point where like I'm gonna get out of the car, because I'll tell you what happens is, so growing up, like I scrapped a little bit, you know, my friends that are more, I pulled back once we got to high school, and then, but in Hawaii, the fight culture is real. Like everyone in Hawaii is like an MMA fighter. Like,
I was gonna say something. Well, it's like I don't know how long you spent in Hawaii, but I know a part of your life was in Hawaii. One of the things about Hawaii that I remember is there was a freedom within the people. Like they weren't like pretentious. I went to Kauai, the part of Hawaii that I went to. They weren't pretentious. Like I went over there and I experienced the kids at my same age that they were, and it wasn't about, you know, what shoes they had. It wasn't about, and like they say cousin a lot. Yeah. Right. Or uncle. And I was like, I'm not your cousin. I'm not, you're not my uncle, whatever, but they treated you like they ingratiated you immediately before you're even comfortable of 100%. Doing it yourself.
100%. Yeah.
So like that was the first time a culture was that free and showed me you could be that way.
Yes.
So I don't know what your experience was in Hawaii, but going back to what you were saying about the fight culture there.
Yeah, I mean, so we're minority. So it's like that for us. I mean, I'm sure you got people, friends who you call cousin or whatever, or like their parents you call uncle, auntie,
right.
Like TOT, right?
Right.
So it was the first, and before Hawaii, I lived in Kansas, and the story I told you about when I was the only Asian kid. And then I went to being every Asian kid or every like brown kid. And I was like, oh, this is like, it wasn't weird in the sense of it was foreign. It was weird because everyone was like me for the first time. Okay. And so everyone was uncle, auntie. And I grew up doing that. Like I still do that to this day. Like I still call, like my neighbors are older Viet people. Mm-hmm. I call them uncle, auntie.
Really?
Yeah. I don't even know them. I'm just like, yo, they call my son like grandson, nephew. Like
nice.
Yeah. And it's just what we do as a culture. But the reason why they could do that and why they fight, I think anyway, is because it's one of the last stand-up places. I've seen like
the last what?
Like stand-up type places.
Oh, okay,
real. Like brawling.
Yeah.
Because your family like that at the end of the day is like, okay, you got beef, we'll squabble, we'll get it out. It is what it is.
Right.
And I've seen like homies.
Right.
Like legit box it out and then be like, all right, we're cool. To the same
dap it up afterwards.
Yo, 100%. To the same intensity of enemies. Right. If not more, because you know them. Yeah. Right. And so it's like that. And so it's just like, it's just so crazy that is the case. But I respect that so much more. And so in my mind, I imagine, when Elijah gets in his first, Elijah, because he's my firstborn, gets into his first fight, how do I handle that? Because to me, I'm sorry, I'm going to ask you, did you win?
See, I won't ask necessarily if you win, but like I'll be like, "Are you okay?"
No, I'm not going to ask if you're okay. Because if you're walking, you're fine.
Right.
If you're talking, you're fine. I'm not going to ask that.
But you have to reaffirm that he realizes he's okay.
Do I?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, maybe I'm learning right now. Right?
No, I'm saying like just because like you got to understand, in a kid's mind, those moments are huge. Those moments are big for them.
You're right. Because if I ask if he won, then that's all that matters.
Right.
You're right. I'm learning. I appreciate that. no, look, this is real learning. This is why I want to have these conversations, because you're right. The first question is going to be the most important question was, are you okay?
Right. So you already do it in a small sense of every time Elijah falls, right? You're not asking him like, all right, did you beat the ground up?
Yeah.
No, like, you okay?
Yeah.
Safe?
Yeah.
Right?
You're right. You're good.
So they reaffirm that they're okay and they can bounce back from basically anything, especially when they're kids. You know, their bones are still kind of, meldable, whatever, like everything goes back into place. You know, when you fight as a young kid, it's gonna be a traumatic experience. It's one of those first times that you realize you either fight or flight, and it's okay to be either or.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, are you okay?
Well, here's my question of how to navigate this, and I don't know the right answer or if you even thought about this yet. When I was growing up, if there was a fight, right? If I got into a fight, the question was. If the question was like, one, are you okay? I did get that now that I think about it. And the other question is, what happened? And then, is it done? The is it done question was important. And I didn't realize why. It's because if it's not done, then we need to make it done.
Oh, done. Like, done.
Right? Because we need to figure out what's going on. And so, this never happened to me, but I feel like this was the type of culture and parenting that I was growing up in, which was, if it's not done, go get them. Right? Let's figure this out right now, and then squash that shit.
I never had that issue. Like, really? As far as like,
but that's how Hawaii is, and that's why I brought it up. Is if you got a real issue,
figure it out.
Go right. Figure it out. Is it done?
Right.
No. Go another round. Is it done? Go another round. Is it done? Okay, we're good. We're done. And then that's how it is. And so, and that's never the right way to solve a situation, but there are times when you just got to figure some stuff out, in a healthy, sporty way. Right. But I don't know.
I've never, once, I don't know. It's kind of weird because I never thought of it that way because, once I've gotten into a fight, it was just, once it was over, it was done. Like we had a beef.
So it was never beef?
No, it was beef.
So it was done then?
Yeah, it was done.
That's good.
Right. I don't remember any after conversations. Maybe it just wasn't important enough. And that's what I thought you had said at the beginning was it dumb? Like DUMB, right? Yeah. And I base a lot of my fights, even today, is it worth it? Can you remember what you were fighting about?
I think that's part of the question of, is it done?
Right.
Is it worth it? Is it done? And then the part that is it done is, it'll lose, like, if you won, it's probably done. Right. But if you feel like you didn't do your best, it's another way to say, did you do your best?
Oh, okay. I always empty gas tank.
I think, right?
Yeah.
So if you lost, but it's done, you're good.
Yeah.
But if you lost, but you felt like you bitched out or like maybe it was unfair, all right, we'll call that kid. Right. At a certain age. But I don't know what it is now because, one, I'm not condoning violence, and this is probably a weird ass podcast for the kids and for the wives, right? But as young people, we need to figure this out because, one, yes, you could be diplomatic and all these other things, but I'll stand by this till the day I die. There's nothing wrong with going, let's put some gloves on.
Oh, 100%.
But it's that Friday, that Craig shit. You know what I mean? And it's like, just. If that is the case, go for that. And I want my son, if that is the case, I am worried of how I'm going to navigate that space with him for the first time. And hopefully the one time. You know what I mean?
Well, I never think that it's not okay to get into a fight one time. You need to know that you're human. You need to know that you can be humbled. And you need to know that you're not the best and somebody else is better than out there. Not that you can't be the best.
Yeah.
But we're all in this together. Right?
And when you say fight, you don't even mean like in the street. You mean like you could be sparring, it could be.
It doesn't matter.
It could be in sports. That's why sports is so great because you
like what you brought up the Friday thing, right? If nobody remembers, Craig is talking to his dad, and his dad's like, at the end of the day, you don't like forget the guns, forget the knives, forget the weapons. When you got these two, at least you're coming back home.
That's important.
That to me is so much more. I get. Thinking about my son, I get tingles going down my spine because I'm basically Craig's father now. Like this is what I use for me. I'm here. I'm here now.
Yes.
I'm teaching you. I'm in front of you, right?
The table.
I'm in front of you. I can tell you these things, but once you go to weapons, once you go to knives, you don't know if you're going to be in my space. In my place later on teaching your own kid. Yeah. And that's the scariest thing. And I know this is a unpopular opinion, and I don't care. Like you being from the military, you might think that I'm crazy when I say this, but I think all guns that's not for hunting or whatever should be illegal.
Okay.
Like across the board. Yeah. Like if you're not in the purpose of using it for like sport, as far as like, hunting again, no handguns, no nothing.
Don't look under the table.
Huh?
Don't look under the table.
I didn't hear you.
Don't look under the table.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, man. It's just
it's weird. And I guess if I could reformulate the question, it's this is what we grew up with. And again, I didn't fight a whole lot. I did, but I didn't. You know what I mean? There were times. Is it the same for our kids growing up? Do they need to know that?
I think when you can get out of a situation through conversation, I think it's best.
Or running. There's nothing wrong with running.
Yeah, but it's unrealistic for a kid growing up, like you said.
Look,
trying to get that respect.
There are times, and sometimes respect is a double-edged sword. And I tell that story because it's real and it happened. But the other reason why I want to tell the story is because respect is fickle, right? I'm not even using the right word, probably. It's not. Respect is not real.
It's not tangent.
When you're 11 years old,
it's not tangible.
And another kid respects you or not, no one cares.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I had known that then, would I have still fought? I don't know. But at the time, it seems like life or death.
Right.
It seems like, and even today, as a grown man, right, husband, kids, father, if I was back against the wall, would I still fight? Would I just give the shoes now? I'd probably give the shoes up now. You know what I mean? I don't know. But here's one thing I definitely don't know. If I get cornered and my son is with me, and some guy goes, "Yo, let me check those shoes," and my son is with me, I don't know what I'm going to do in that moment. I'm going to be straight up.
You know what? I think that if you're cut from the same cloth I am, I think that if it was like a weapon drawn on you, right?
Oh, yeah. If it's a weapon, just...
Exactly, right?
Take that,
But here's the thing, though. Like, it could be the shoes that's material that you don't care whether or not, you have them on your feet.
It's never about the shoes. It's never about the shoes.
I know that.
Right.
But here's what I'm trying to get at is like you're willing to give that away. Yeah. That is inconsequential to anything over the situation that you're in to put your son in danger.
Right. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So here, take the shoes. Don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All I care about is my son. But
that is a good lesson for him to see, though. That is a good lesson.
But at the end of the day, what if it's not the shoes and it's your son that he's putting into jeopardy?
Oh, that's different.
Nothing.
That's different.
There's nothing.
I'm killing for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There's nothing that's gonna come between you and your son.
Yeah.
Like that's the way I am. Like there's nothing materialistic. There's no object in this world that I would put in front of my kids' well-being.
Yeah.
But the moment that line crosses to where my kids' well-being is in jeopardy.
That's easy. Yeah.
That's like, and I've surprised myself with that. Like anybody that is steps to my wife, steps to my kids. And I as an adult, like I've told adults, numerous adults, right? My kid, he's not an angel, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, stop talking to my kid, talk to me. We're adults, we can figure this out.
Oh yeah.
Like there's nothing that you need to tell my kid.
Yeah.
Like I'll reprimand my kid all day long if he messed up.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna talk to my kid that way. You're not gonna talk to my wife that way.
Oh, definitely not my wife.
You know, like and I've put myself in situations that way before that. I haven't been in a fight as like a grown 30-year-old, 40-year-old man.
You're 40,
but I've gotten close to it.
Wait, so to clarify, if an adult is talking to your kid, you mean don't talk to them a certain way or don't correct them?
No, you can correct my son.
Okay, I want to be clear about that because I think that's important.
I do believe we raise kids.
It takes a tribe.
Community. Yeah. I have no problem.
Thank you. I just want to clarify that. But let me ask you this then, right? So this adult to kid, right? What if you're watching your son and you see him getting into a situation with another kid?
Oh, I let it happen.
Really?
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
I let it happen.
You let your son get his ass beat? That's my question. I would let him get his ass beat, but I wouldn't let him get. I would if it's too far. But I would let him get his ass beat.
I don't think you would.
100%.
I don't think you would.
I
doubt it.
Look, I'll let him get a black eye. I'll let him get a bloody nose. I'm not letting him break anything.
But how do you know?
Because I know.
Okay.
I know.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
I want to have this conversation when this happens. Because it will.
No, but because I think back about times I've gotten my ass beat.
Right.
Whether in competition or in real life, and my dad was there. And he did it with such grace and such empathy. I don't know how he did it. Because I don't even like my son falling down now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But see,
but knowing he has to fall down, he has like, okay, well, this kid's about to go beat his ass. Oh my God. Fuck this.
Okay.
This is embarrassing.
This will answer your question. Okay. When your son falls down, do you look away?
Depends how far it is. No, of course I don't look away.
Okay. See, that's why you won't let him fight. Because you have to be able either.
I'll still watch him. But to your point, right? I'll let him fall down, but I'm not gonna let him jump off the bed.
No, I've straight up ignored my son.
You've ignored
him.
Really?
Like he'll cry and everything.
But that's straight. But I'm talking about like, okay, let's say your son's 11 now, right? This 14-year-old who grabs his kid's bike, your son's bike.
Oh yeah, well
I'm saying watching that shit and he can't escape. You let him get his bike jacked?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
I don't know where that line is yet.
Okay, so like what I meant is like, okay, my son falls down.
Okay.
Falls hard.
Yes.
I'll look away.
Oh, yeah.
Deal with that.
That I get
you
that. You
have to deal with that.
I'm talking now, specifically person to person.
I know.
Conflict resolution.
But what I'm trying to give you the parallels of that, right? So when your son is in a fight,
okay,
right? The first thing that when he first gets into a fight, it's daddy, is this okay? So the first thing he's going to do, he might look at the kid might push him, especially if he doesn't start it. Kid pushes him.
Yeah.
Daddy, handle this.
This is what I'm going to do. All right, you be Elijah getting pushed, right? And then you look at me as daddy, but you don't have to call me daddy, of course.
All right.
All right, go ahead.
That's all you're going to do?
Bro, that's it. That's it. What are you going to, like, for you, Elijah, this is what it is. What are you going to do?
Right. That's good. Yeah, I mean, you can.
What are you going to do?
Right.
You can choose what to do. I'll back you no matter what.
Oh, okay. I'll give you that.
I'm not going to let your bike get stolen.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're losing and getting your ass whooped, I'll stop it. Don't worry. I'll break it up. I've seen enough fights. I've been in fights where, like, especially if you're like 10, 11 years old. Like, I know what that is.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you got to learn.
Yeah.
You got to learn.
But I also think that you are putting in a situation where you're making your kid out to be the good one. And not to say that he isn't.
Oh, like he's picking on somebody?
No. Right. So there's
oh, if he's picking on somebody, I'm whooping his ass.
I don't think you would.
Maybe not physically whoop his ass, but like he's gonna learn.
But you're not gonna know all the time. Here's my point. Here's my point. You're over here in the playground, right?
Yeah, okay.
And your son gets in a squabble, whatever. You don't know who's what. You know, who's a good guy, who's a bad guy, right? Your son gets punched in the face. He's gonna look up at you with the little teary eyes and everything. I think it depends on how old he will be when this happens.
That's
right?
fair. That is fair.
And but
let's say he's under 10.
I can see you being like, what are you going to do? Right. And I think that's important.
Because I want to see what he's going to do. I want to see logically where he's thinking. And then I can course correct as needed. Right.
I think it's innate though.
What do you mean?
Like, I think that what you did when you got the kid and put him against a locker was in you. I don't think anybody taught you that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if I jump in, I'm not going to see what kind of kid he is.
Right.
I'm not going to see what kind of man he might be, right? And again, there's no...
But like,
I'm not defining good or bad man.
Right.
I just want to know what character fiber he has.
What if he falls and it crumbles and he cries?
Then that's fine, too. Like, look, straight up, that's okay, too. We're not all fighters. I don't even like fighting all the time. Like, especially as I got older, I was like, yo... we can start really getting hurt now. Right. Like when I'm like putting that kid against the locker, or even like when I got my ass beat in high school, like one time, like, okay, I got my ass beat, but it's like, I'm okay.
Right.
If I get into a fight now, someone's dying. I'm not fighting anymore unless someone's dying. And that's how you should always be. Right. In a fight. Like it should be like, yo, that's how we go. But if my son is not a fighter for whatever reason, he says, I'm gonna play what's that animal that just pretends it's dead? What is that?
The what?
Like that just pretends it's dead. Like a
possum.
Yeah, if he plays possum, right? And he says, I'm gonna go limp. And look, if that's what it is, that's okay too. Then I will teach him to either be good with his hands or good with his mind, right? But he will have the tools to figure out, like your son, how to get out of those situations, right? How to be clever. Or he will figure out, hey, I don't like getting my ass beat, Daddy. Well, what do you want to do about it? Well, I'll ask him. Do you want to figure out how to fix this next time? All right, well, let's go to the ring. Let's figure this out. Yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. All right, let me show you how to word out this, or just give it. It's not whatever it is. I will give him those life skills on both sides of the tape. But I have no problem. I feel very confident. I have no problem, Elijah Zeke, if you're like under 10 and I'm watching you get in a situation of just seeing what happens. And I hope you navigate that throughout that. But if you are like an oppressor, if you're all bully, I'm going to check you so fast. Yeah. And I'm going to make you probably go against some kid who's 10 times bigger than you.
Well,
and humble you.
The good thing about Elijah and Zeke, they're going to have each other. You know, that's true. That they're going to punch each other in the face 5 times before anybody else does.
I mean, Zeke, especially being the younger one, he's going to be humbled, you know? And then one day, Zeke's going to punch Elijah.
I mean, like, the Gronkowskis are the Gronkowskis for a reason.
Yes.
The Watts are the Watts for a reason. You know, they all, got together and beat each other up, and they made them, iron sharpens iron.
And I hope that they're tight.
Yeah.
Like two bros.
No, they will be. Especially Elijah is about to be 2, right?
About to be 2, and then so that age difference.
Yeah, they'll be pretty good. They'll be at a perfect age to get it on each other's nerves. Yeah. And but they'll fight, together.
Let them. And the thing is, I feel lucky enough to come up in martial arts and like just the background.
Are you an only kid?
I have a younger sister. She's 2.5 younger than me, but because we're moving around, it was just me and her.
Right.
And she fought competitively too. Right. And so when we would like be little, my dad would tell us like, "Yo, go downstairs, go rounds." And I wouldn't he would watch and like make sure it's all fair. But she got to a point where she was fierce. She was nobody like, and my sister's like that, and she's tough and she's a lady. You know what I mean? But she takes no shit for nobody. And so, but the boys, I hope they have each other's back like that, like Twin Dragons back in the day. You know what I mean? Like Ken and Ryu, like that's them. So,
I got to see the difference between having brothers that are close together and me being so far apart from my brothers.
Okay,
like they were rough and tumble, and the middle brother of mine is just. He's a beast. Yeah. And anything, I think that if any of us were to become like pro athletes, he would be a superstar.
Okay.
what he was gifted naturally was better than all of us, you know. Yeah. But what I think that kind of like sharpened his skills was having the two brothers to kind of like be there and you know, one, me reprimanding him, and his other brother always like getting under his skin and stuff like that.
It's so important for, and Jordan Peterson talks about this, right? He talks about like, it's important for young boys to wrestle with other boys and their dad so they can figure out physically what the limits are and what's acceptable.
Right.
Right? Because I don't have any brothers, but my cousin is only 1 year younger than me. And we're growing up, we were very, very close. He was like my brother growing up. And we would fight all the time. And it was only after one time when we fought so bad, I had like, we used to watch the Kung Fu movies as a kid all the time, right? And so like I did this crazy jump off the couch, turn around, kick him in the face type shit. Bro, bloody nose, he was done. It was out. And I felt so bad because that's my cousin.
Yeah.
And to your point, we're best friends after that. But I would have never, like, we came up, like, if we wrestled, and his big brother, who's 5 years older than us, I would wrestle the shit out of him, like, get my ass beat all the time. But it's like, yo, this is, what are we going to do? You know what I mean? So it's important for young boys to learn what those boundaries are. So I'm excited to have two boys. I'm excited to, like, have them figured out together and to be, you know,
I think
to do that.
I think what you, and I think this is the biggest lesson that you can give your kids is that it's okay to run. You don't know.
Run away, you mean?
Right.
Yo, 100%
right.
Run.
You don't know because you're so caught up in being getting your respect, getting your like dues, like getting your shot in and all that stuff, right? The reason I have this scar is because I was in Galveston. This was probably the last fight I've ever been into, and it's not really a fight. Yeah. But I have the scar here because I was single. I was out in Galveston and I hit on this one girl. The boyfriend didn't know I was hitting on the one girl, but the boyfriend's best friend knew.
Okay.
He saw me.
Okay.
Right. So I'm waiting for my friends to pull out and we're about to get in the car. And the best friend standing there while I'm waiting. I'm like, hey, after I've hit on this girl, like, hey, how's it going? I'm just talking shit. Like she said, like, oh no, I got a boyfriend, and I dropped it right then. Mm-hmm. Cool, but it wasn't good enough for him, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, it was cool, man. It was cool. I'm like, oh, that's what's up. Okay, whatever. He's like, that's what's up.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I guess. I'm like, and so all of a sudden he lays one into me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't know where this come from, but it was kind of like, I didn't know I got hit. Yeah. It was light. It was light. But as soon as I look up, this guy comes with the Corona bottle and hits me in the side of the face. And I look up again and I don't know how I'm not like blind in this eye because there's no shards or anything out of my eye. But I look up and there's like 6 like guys coming running full force for me. So like by that time my friends had got the car out. I open the door, jump in.
Oh yeah.
I jump in and we take off. Man, my blood is just like like, and I've never been queasy about blood, but I was like, I got a situation. Yeah. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I get home and my friend, he's like, man, I would have died there.
Why?
Like he's saying I should have fought back.
But why?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like when you're a kid, fighting as a kid is not the same as fighting an adult. You could die. Like a black eye or a runny nose or like whatever is not the same as a Corona bottle to the face. Like you can go blind, you could die, you can brain damage. Like,
and I just remember thinking, okay, maybe you're just immature. Like I am happy I'm here now. Yeah. I'll live with this scar all day as long as I'm alive.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Right.
So it's like even then, like time was slow for me, but I figured it out. It's okay to run. I needed to get out of that situation. There was nothing good that was going to happen for me to try to regain my pride, to try to regain my respect. I'm never going to see them again.
That's 100% right. 100%. Respect is just so, it's stupid.
I think you don't know if he even used the word right, but I think it was a perfect word. It's fickle.
Yeah.
Like for every person, it's different.
Yes.
Like it's a different meaning for every one person in every given time, because that person, like you said, he may not even remember that moment.
He probably won't.
Right. Yeah. But for you, the respect was all it was.
Right.
Like that was 100% what was on your mind.
And it's funny because when you're a kid, you feel like that's all you have.
Right.
Especially when you watch, and that's probably the year I watched Scarface too. He goes, you know what I'm saying? Oh my God, I was respecting my balls. Like, right. I was like, oh, that makes sense. I got balls and respect.
Yeah.
So like,
but yeah, you forget he dies at the end of
100%. You don't remember anything else. You just remember first you get the money, then you get the respect, and then you get the girls. Like that's the. I was like, oh, I'm 11, 12, 13. That's
for sure, 100%.
No one understands. Like the last 5 minutes, you get shot. Your sister gets banged by your best friend. Like no one remembers what happened.
Another unpopular opinion is like I like the movie, but to people that say that's the greatest movie of all time, I'm like,
it is a fantastic movie, but it's not a life lesson movie. Like
it's like everything not to do.
Yo, but I'm telling you, when I watched the movie, my life was like, all right, cool. Like I'm ride or die now. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, but it's we talked a lot about, and it's been I
am so sorry, dude.
No, it's been so good. I like this because it's so real, and it's like if real recognize real, like I feel like we would have been good growing up together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like the kids, your kids, my kids watching this back are going to get a better idea of how superhuman and not superhuman their dads are, right? We talked a lot about the good things that we've done, the things that we've learned, the mistakes, the dumb fights, the things we've learned about not needing to fight now. What is one thing you would want your kids and my kids watching back on this to take away from the conversation, or just from you having one message to them?
Okay, so I'll choose to deviate a little bit.
Okay.
To Elijah, to Jonathan, and to Zeke.
Okay.
If I may use his nickname.
Yeah.
I think that in today's time, education is very important. Experience is, if not more important, right? It's just as much, or if not more. What I mean by that is like, my mother preached education, right? But so much in today's time is you get the education, but you're not working in the field of what you basically went to school for. And that's not bad. Everybody, has to make a living. So what I mean by that, if you have like a passion, if you have something that you really feel strongly about, whether it's fighting, whether it's going along the theme, whether it's like, for example, my son, Jonathan, he really likes cars. Like, you can go and become, like, go to school for, say, history, right? But if you're not doing anything in that field, like as far as experience, you're not working or not even like going as a, like an intern for a museum. What's the point of going for history? For my son, he likes cars, and I tell him all the time, you like cars, get into something like, some, go to a mechanic shop, just get that experience. You can go, ask to just be around the cars, to intern or whatever. So by the time that you get out of school, you've got your diploma, you've got your degree, and say whatever it is about the cars, you can also go to a particular job and say, I have 2 years experience of being here, and I got this degree. Now I'm ready to be a mechanical engineer. I'm ready to be whatever it is that you want to do as far as your field. Whereas like I've, going through the pandemic and I went and did a lot of job searches, is like, I have the qualifications, but they're like, you need 2 years of experience. How am I supposed to get experience?
Right.
Without without actually getting the job. So in today's day and age, it's just so hard to just be like, battling everybody that has the same qualifications with no experience.
Right.
So that's the one thing I think that I don't think as parents, we push our kids hard enough as far as getting our kids the experience. And it doesn't matter what it is. I give you maybe not the two best examples, but I think that anything that you see your kid latch onto, just push them to gain that experience.
I like that. I like that a lot. Anything? Anything? What if Jonathan goes, I like being a clown? You push it?
Oh yeah, 100%. That's
what's up.
No. I really
jokingly, but
I really believe in that, in the sense of like, I don't believe that you should just chase your passion like blindly. I think that if you have a passion and that's what you want to do,
let's go to work.
Yeah, right. 100%. Like, just don't be like, let me see. Let me try to make an example of, I don't know. I fighting for some reason always goes into. So let me give you an example of what I mean, like real world situation. So I want to be a fighter, right? So I go to school for physical therapy to understand the body, or kinesiology to understand the body, right? I go, and my profession might be fighting, but my passion is the body, right? I may not make it. I'm 1-6 in the UFC, right? Guess what I have? A diploma in kinesiology.
Right. That's what you're saying.
Guess what I can do?
Yeah.
Go be a trainer. Go be a physical therapist.
Yeah.
I can do whatever it is and continue my passion.
Yeah.
But I'm not just following something blindly and not having any experience. I'm getting the best of both worlds.
Yeah, man.
So it doesn't matter if you shoot for the stars, you're going to land on the moon. Either way.
There it is.
Yeah. I know that's cliche, but at the end of the day, you've given your all to this, but you've given your all to this, but you'll land in something that you actually enjoy doing.
Yes.
Because that's your passion. If you say that's your passion.
100%. And I'll carry that with passions will change.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So the work that you're talking about is the important thing, is, identifying what was passionate about it, but then having the drive to go and work at your passion, no matter what it is. I think that's what I'm getting from this.
Can you honestly tell me, for your son's sake, if your son's saying, I want to be a doctor, right?
Okay.
4 years in.
Yep.
He says, I don't want to be a doctor no more. I want to be a mechanic. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
You might get that.
If that's true.
What do you mean?
If that is true, right? Because I'm going to question him, right? As a good parent would. I'll go, why don't you want to be a doctor anymore? Is it because you don't like the body? The mission has changed, right? Your personal mission has changed, or is it too hard?
Right.
If it's one or the other, my response is going to be different.
Right.
Right. And so that's what I would ask as a parent. But if it's truly, I liked the body because I liked how it worked mechanically, but I think I like it more physically in a car and physical engineering. I get that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's adjust. But for me, I agree with you. Be passionate about what you do, put the work in to have the experience in there, because it's easier to adjust your passion and the flow if you already have momentum with where you want to go and the things you want to do. Even if it's completely opposite, it's easier to translate skills and experience from something than nothing.
Yeah, I think it's okay to pivot.
100%.
It's not okay to give up.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So like what you were saying was like, I don't want to be a doctor because it's too hard. That's not a reason to give up. Like 100%. That's not a reason to say, okay, let's deviate from that.
Yeah.
Like if you just realize that that's not your passion, that's okay.
That's 100% okay.
But what are you really passionate about?
And if you need time to figure out, we'll figure that out. But we're not going to quit something just because it's too hard.
Right.
Like we're going to finish the season. We're going to finish the whatever it is. Because we made a commitment to this. And then we'll learn from it. But we don't have to be lifelong about it. We'll figure out what it is. Because I want them to be married to the hard work. We'll figure out whatever.
One question I